And on July 5th, KALB learned that the City of Alexandria faces a potential lawsuit over its code enforcement practices. The company experienced what he says were, quote, severe damages from discriminatory and inadequate code enforcement practices, end quotes. Today, I spoke with the managing director of Paul Drew Properties on the city's code enforcement practices.
I don't know if I'm being targeted, but it certainly feels like it's just a money grab.
Paul Hateman is the managing director of Paul Drew Properties based out of Baton Rouge. On June 25th, the City of Alexandria sent a letter to Paul Drew Properties stating their property on 1020 South Street was in violation of city ordinances for weeds and obstructed growth. The city sent an invoice of $150 requesting payment for the, quote, cost of mowing and or cleaning the property plus administrative expenses, end quote. However, Hateman argues that the city's notice of the violation was inaccurate, lacking a reference number and clear photographic evidence of the property.
The pictures that were included with this bill, they could have been anywhere.
Hateman shared with KALB the city's letter to Paul Drew, and in the letter sent, there appears to be no citation number given. The letter does not provide evidence of violation in regard to the obnoxious growth and litter. However, the city does provide photos of Hateman's grass, which Hateman believes is not his.
There's no landmarks. There's nothing to identify. It's like almost like code enforcement turned their camera down and took a picture.
Hateman recalls another situation that happened on July 10th when Hateman's maintenance person was going to cut their grass on the property.
And said he pulled in, and code enforcement pulled in front behind him, jumped out, took a bunch of pictures. He tried to get names, numbers, and they said, you have to contact the city. All we got was Jamal with city truck 2253.
On July 1st, Hateman sent a 30-day notice to the city attorney threatening to sue until the issue is resolved and damages are paid for. And we have reached out to the City of Alexandria for comments. At this time, we have not received a response.